Orange Sky Audio presents A Man of Honor, Kingston Family, Book 2, by Miranda Liasson. Narrated for you by Melissa Moran. For Those Who Serve. Chapter 1. It wasn't every day that Catherine Kingston found herself in a badly lit parking lot about to beg an exotic dancer to take her place. The woman, it was hard to tell, but she barely looked 20 if she was a day, stood in the May drizzle, her skimpily clad form outlined in a dim circle of light. Around the top of the lone lamp post, bugs careened and crashed, unable to avoid the magnetism of the bulbs. The woman adjusted the spaghetti-thin straps on her cami and shoved her key into the door of a beat-up Pontiac Sunbird, its fender as crooked as a smashed-in jaw. Cat didn't have long to collect her courage before the woman would start her car and drive away. For a moment, she chickened out, retreating into the shadows, where she'd been for most of her life. The neon fish on the sticky fish sign blew flashing green bubbles above her and lit the low-lying mist from the lake that wound through the parking lot, giving it an even more eerie look. Cat had always followed the prescribed road and had never deviated from it. But she was done being an observer in her own life. She'd lived that way for far too long. She would get over Preston Guthrie. He'd invaded her blood like malaria, a cyclic rebounding fever she'd suffered with on and off for years. It was time to finally flush him out of her system once and for all. Whatever it took, that's what she needed to do. No matter how out of character, how scary or crazy, she had to move on. Her sanity and her future depended on it. He was her brother's best friend, and she'd had a crush on him forever, one that he'd either never been aware of or had never reciprocated. It had taken years to forget him, but she had. Then, last fall, after her fiancé had dumped her, Preston and she had finally met up again, at a friend's wedding, as that crazy bitch fate would have it, right before he'd been called up from the reserves for a tour of duty in Afghanistan. Their connection, at least for her, had been shocking, charged with more jewels than a defibrillator paddle. And just as short-lived, because a few months later, he'd dumped her too. But despite their long history, he'd done it by disappearing without a word. In the parking lot, the woman's ignition flared, her car a clanking, discombobulated wreck with a bad muffler. It was now or never. Cat stepped forward and thrust 2 20s in front of her face. "This is yours for the address those guys in the bar just gave you."
Sample complete. Ready to continue?